Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. If you could please stand for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome to the February 7th, 2019 Town of Riverhead Planning Board meeting. First item on our agenda tonight is a discussion item for a minor subdivision of Henry Silverman.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Charles Cuddy is here on behalf of the applicant, if you want to invite him up. He's here. You have in your, later in the agenda, a draft resolution for your consideration for approval. This is for a 3-lot minor subdivision located at the corner of Penny's Road and Sound Avenue. Going through the resolution, it just goes through the history of the application and how we got to where we are today. There are 3 lots being proposed. The lot is currently developed with a farmhouse and some agricultural accessory structures. That would be consuming lot 1 of the proposed subdivision, and then lots 2 and 3, as you know, there is a very large wetland body that would be split as a result of this proposed subdivision. As you recall, the wetlands flagging was done back in 2007. We felt that that was too long ago, and so we required the applicant to go back and reflag it, which they did. And then Jeffrey Seaman, who was our environmental planner at the time, went out and confirmed the wetlands flagging. And in fact, it confirmed that the wetland boundary had not changed. Town engineer issued a November 15, 2017 report expressing his concern about the drainage of the property. There's a lot of flooding on the property, a lot of natural water, surface water that is contained on the property. Second thing he is voicing is that if there's a disturbance of more than an acre or 5 acres conclusive of aggregate of all 3 lots, then a SWIP would be required. Chief Building Inspector issued a September 3rd, 2017 report, also voicing concern about the wetlands on the property, and also about the 2007 wet flagging, which we addressed through the updated flagging last year. Also requires that the health department would have to meet, have to be filed with the health department. The wetlands that you see on the property are both registered by DEC, and they do not consider the subdivision to be a regulated activity because they don't consider that to be development. But if there is any construction activity within the 100-foot jurisdictional area, that would require a DEC wetland permit. The town's jurisdiction is 150 feet, and they did appear before the Conservation Advisory Committee back in March 18th of last year. They were concerned about the date of the flagging, which we addressed through the updated flagging last year. And that any disturbance within the 150-foot jurisdiction would require their approval. We have a December 11th, 2017 letter from the Suffolk County Planning Commission that considers a subdivision to be a matter of local determination. We held a public hearing back in December 6th of last year, and it was closed on the same date with no comment. The proposed subdivision was considered to be unlisted action without the need for a coordinated review. So that gets us to the resolves of the resolution. First and foremost, staff is recommending that the planning board could issue a negative declaration, finding that there's no adverse significant environmental impacts. Prior to the chairman signing the subdivision map, there are a number of conditions that we'd like the board to impose. The first is that the applicant record declarations and covenants approved by your council. The first covenant would state that the 3 lots shall not be further subdivided. The second condition would be, and I'll just read it, the property owners acknowledge the wetland boundary and delineation as shown on the minor subdivision map for Henry Silverman, prepared and stamped by Nathan Taft Corwin III, land surveyor, last dated September 21st, 2018, as regulated by the Department of Environmental Conservation and the Town of Riverhead Conservation Advisory Committee. The next condition would be that the property owners agree not to grade, clear, alter, nor disturb the wetlands or the adjacent areas as shown on the minor subdivision map by Henry Silverman, prepared and stamped by Nathan Taft Corwin III, land surveyor, last day is September 21st, 2018, unless approved by the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation and the Town of Riverhead CAC and Planning Board. Next condition would be the property owners acknowledge the existing stormwater flow through the existing drainage structures as shown on the subdivision map that nourishes and replenishes the existing wetlands, freshwater wetlands found on proposed lots 1 and lot 2, and shall not impede the existing water flows from these structures onto proposed lots 1 and 2. Condition number E, or condition letter E rather, prior to the issuance of a building permit for any development of lot 1 or lot 2, the property owner shall submit a site plan application for review and approval by the planning board. Said site plan application shall include, but not be limited to, the applicant's demonstration that the proposed development will not have any adverse impact on the existing wetlands and not impede the stormwater flow from Penny's Road, and analyze the potential impact of the existing wetlands and stormwater flow on the proposed development. Further, said site plan application shall demonstrate that the proposed development of lots 1 and 2 will not adversely affect the existing flow of stormwater from Penny's Road or the adjoining properties, nor the health of the existing wetlands. The planning board is not bound by the proposed principal building envelopes as shown on the September 21, 2018 minor subdivision map prepared by Nathan Corwin III, and shall rely upon a new survey, site plan, and other supporting application information. Condition F, a notation shall be added to the subdivision map indicating that lot 1 and lot 2 have New York State Department of Environmental Conservation freshwater wetlands number 14, subject to the freshwater regulations 6 NYCC CRR part 663, and the town freshwater wetlands number 5202 and 5203, regulated by chapter 295 of the Code of the Town of Riverhead. Condition capital B, prior to the signature of the map, the applicant shall pay a $6,000 park and recreation fee. That's $3,000 per newly created lot. Condition capital C, prior to the signature of the map shall receive approval by the Suffolk County Department of Health Services. Item D, the subdivision map shall be revised to include a planning board certification box. Item E is that they have to submit a new title report. There was a lot of confusion and back and forth between the applicant, the town attorney's office, and my office about the submission of an adequate title report. And we just determined that it was not adequate. So what this requires is that prior to the signing of the map, they have to give us another title report with a clean title and 50-year chain. Item F, a Mylar copy of the revised map shall be submitted to the Riverhead Planning Department for signature by the chairman. Within 60 days of the signature, the map has to be filed with the county clerk and also Suffolk County Real Properties. And that takes us through the whole resolution.
I would just comment that I'm new to this, but I understand it's been going on for 9, 10 more years, or 10 or more years. I have read it, and I tried to get Mr. Silverman because I think he would have some problem with some of the covenants. And so I would ask the board to table it or not adopt it at this time. He'll be back for your next meeting, but
Is he not here tonight?
he's not here, no.
And we are at a statutory
That's
time
why,
frame.
that's why I'm here, because
Okay.
he couldn't come, he asked me to come. But
Mr. Cuddy, are you authorized to wait the 62 days until the next vote?
Yeah, we're not asking that,
No, that's
60
just
days.
to be clear.
That's fine.
Tonight's the 62nd day, so you would
No.
have to act or it would be deemed approved without any conditions. So if it's not unusual for an applicant to ask for a delay where they take the 62-day time, probably would be appropriate to extend it at least through 2 more meetings, so that if you do meet again and discuss it, the board has a chance to absorb that at the next meeting. Would that
That's
be
acceptable.
So, a consent extension of 62 days from tonight, Mr. Cuddy? is that-
Yes.
Okay, so we'll table it when it comes up under resolutions. Okay, next item on the agenda is AT&T at 5010 South Shore Road.
Good evening, members of the board. The planning department has received a site plan application to modify an existing wireless communications facility and upgrade existing equipment. The subject parcel is a roughly 1 acre parcel of land which is located on the south side of Sound Shore Road. The subject property is located within the RA 80 zoning use district. The site's presently approved with a wireless communications facility, including gravel access road, communications tower, and associated equipment under a 392 square foot equipment shelter. And the facility is surrounded by a approximately 3,100 square foot chain link fence topped with barbed wire. The area to the south and immediately to the west of the subject parcel is mainly an agricultural production. The most prominent use in the surrounding area is to the north and across Sound Shore Road is a petroleum storage terminal operated by United Riverhead Terminals. Planning Department has received and reviewed a radio frequency safety survey report, which was submitted with the application, which specifically addressed the compliance of AT&T's transmitting facilities independently and in relation to all the co-located transmission facilities, which together constitute the total RF environment at the site. The report states that the worst case exposure is equal to 1.3% of the maximum permissible exposure limits for public exposure at the street level, which is established by federal communications guidelines. Planning Department has received a structural analysis report for the antenna mounts, prepared by a professional engineer, last dated October 19th, 2018, which indicates that the existing tower mounts have sufficient capacity to support the existing as well as the proposed equipment. The report also states that upon completion of the proposed modifications, the mount utilization will be at 79.9% of the total capacity. Planning Department has also received a structural analysis report for the tower and foundation, prepared by a professional engineer, last dated November 12th, 2018, which indicates that the tower structure and foundations have sufficient capacity to support the existing and proposed equipment. Tower modifications specifically consist of installing 6 new RRH units, 2 per sector, replacing 3 RRH units with new RRH units, 1 per sector. They will replace 9 panel antennas, install 1 new DC6 surge suppression dome, and replace the existing antenna platform with a new platform. Groundwork proposed by the site plan application consists of the installation of a new 2-inch conduit with 2 DC lines and a fiber line, installation of a new rack-mounted suppression box and fiber management box within the existing equipment shelter, as well as the installation of a new 24-volt to 48-volt converter within the existing shelter. Referral of this application was not required to the Suffolk County Commission, the Planning Commission, per their guidelines and policies. As with all these administrative cell tower applications, the town engineer will require a post-construction analysis confirming that the construction was designed, performed in accordance with the approved plans. There was one minor change that if the planning board approves this application, staff would recommend, is that on the first page of the site plan, they just revise it to include the Suffolk County tax map number for clarity.
Greg, are there other carriers operating on that structure?
I believe there are AT&T antennas, and there are another group of antennas, yes.
So the FCC compliance report took into account the RF from all the carriers?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and the structural certification that you got by the licensed PE, was that stamped on a letter or on the plan?
Yes.
Okay.
And you said there's 79% capacity, so there's still
Yes,
room-
that was on the.
There's still room to add more, is that?
Yeah, on the antenna mounts. They didn't provide a percentage of capacity
Right.
on the foundation, but the antenna mounts where they're proposing the equipment, yes.
What's the foreseeable future for cell towers? Is that the way cell communications are gonna go, basically through towers, or is there gonna be other technology in the future, foreseeable future?
I mean, there are other technologies that are out there. There are micro cell technologies, which have been proposed in other areas, where they're much smaller capacities. They're installed on like telephone poles throughout neighborhoods. We haven't seen any of that yet in Riverhead. I have seen some of that in other towns. I have seen some controversy related to them, but as of right now, you know, the towers are what we're looking at.
Okay, any other questions on this, item 2? Okay, item 3, AT&T again at 201 Fresh Pond Avenue.
So again, this is another administrative cell tower application proposing modifications to an existing wireless facility. The existing facility is a roughly 0.9 acre parcel located on the west side of Fresh Pond Avenue in Calverton, approximately 4,100 feet north of Middle Country Road. The existing telecommunications facility is the sole improvement on the property, which consists of a 125-foot tall guide tower with antennas and associated ground-mounted equipment. The equipment is contained within a 9,800 square foot compound surrounded by a chain link fence, and the subject parcel is located within the agricultural protection zone. For SECRA, I'm remiss, I failed to mention SECRA on the previous application. That one is also unlisted. No coordinated review recommended, with the planning board acting as lead agency and issuing a negative declaration. The same goes for this application. These tower modifications consist of installing 6 new RRH units, replacing 3 existing RRH units, replacing 9 panel antennas, removing all diplexers, removing all TMAs, remove the existing platform, install 3 new antenna mounts, install a new 2-inch conduit with associated lines, and install a DC-6 suppression dome. There is some groundwork which consists of largely work within an existing equipment shelter, to de-energize 2 rectifiers, install a new converter shelf, install 2 new 24 to 48 volt converters, new surge suppression box, and a rack-mounted fiber management box, as well as running 2-inch conduit from the shelter up through the tower. The structural analysis report that was prepared by a professional engineer, last dated October 12th, 2018, which analyzed the capacity for the existing tower and foundation, and found that the existing tower and foundation have sufficient capacity to facilitate the existing and proposed modifications in accordance with the 2015 International Building Code. We've also received and reviewed a structural analysis report for the mounts, which again found that the mounts had sufficient capacity to facilitate the existing and proposed equipment modifications under the 2015 International Building Code. The planning department had received an RF compliance analysis report prepared by an electrical professional engineer, last dated October 25th, 2018, which found that the RF levels at the ground will be less than 1% of the MPE as established by the FCC regulations. It also stated that the site will be in compliance when the following measures are implemented. It indicated that the site needs yellow caution 2B signs, which will be required at each climb point, which will be just a standard caution sign with regards to wireless communication facilities. The installation of these signs will be included as a condition of site plan approval prior to the issuance of a certificate of completion for the project. Again, post-construction analysis will be required to ensure that the work was done in accordance with the approved plans. And with this plan, there were 2 minor issues on the site plan. The vicinity map on the cover sheet of the site plan is incorrect and does not accurately reflect the location of the proposed work. And again, the Suffolk County tax map number must be included on the first page of the site plan. Those were put as conditions of approval that those revisions will be required.
In the resolution?
Yes.
Okay. So just to confirm my same questions from the last application, the FCC compliance report and the structural certification stamped by licensed PE, correct?
Yes, sir, and just something I wanted to note, the RF analysis report, it is stamped by a professional engineer licensed in Arizona. Now, I don't know if that's gonna have any bearing, I don't know if the planning board would like to see it prepared by a New York State licensed engineer, or that's it.
Any reciprocity, Arizona?
That, I'm not sure. Dick, do you have any idea? I mean, I can find that out if you'd wanna.
Professional engineer has to be licensed in the state of New York.
Now, would you like to hold off on the approval until we can verify that?
Could we add that it has to be certified by a New York licensed PE?
Add that as a condition into the
Mhm.
resolution?
Yes.
All right.
And the only other thing, Greg, I see is that, on the staff report, it says 201 Fresh Pond Avenue, but on the resolution, it says 201 Sound Avenue.
That was just a scrivener's error, we can correct that in the
Fresh
resolution
Pond,
as
right?
well. So, yep, we'll
Okay.
add a condition that, prior to the signature of the site plan, a RF analysis report stamped by a New York State licensed professional engineer shall be submitted, and that the address on the resolution will reflect 201 Fresh Pond.
Okay, thank you. Next item on the agenda is number 4, Calverton Manor minor subdivision.
So what I have here is just a quick continued discussion and to discuss some of the conditions of the approvals of the Calverton Manor minor subdivision, which is located on the northwest corner of Manor Road and Middle Country Road. While I was preparing the approval resolution, I spoke with Mr. Ehlers about the conditions of approval, and it was brought up the fact that this parcel is not located within the Riverhead Water District. The closest water mains to the subject parcel are approximately 890 feet to the east on Splish Splash Drive and approximately 1,850 feet west on Middle Country Road. Now the question was raised is, was the planning board going to require the subject parcel to be brought into the water district and have them extend the water main as a condition of subdivision approval? When it was brought up at the meeting, when we had the discussion of the subdivision application, it seemed like the consensus was that because the 17 acres on the northern parcel, on the northern area of the subject parcel was in agricultural production, development rights had been transferred off of that property. You basically have 17 acres on the front, which are developable. I believe approximately 6 of them were in agricultural protection zone, and the front 11 acres were located in the rural corridor. So we're here to ask the board if, as a condition of approval, if they would require the parcel to hook up to the water district, or if it's something that we will address if and when the subject parcel ever comes in for a site plan and development.
Mr. Cuddy, I assume that's your client?
That is. I would ask that you do not do that. The nearest water is, according to the water district, the nearest main, which is Splish Splash, is not something that can be extended to our site. It's not big enough. The only one that could be extended is the one that's 1,800 feet away. You're talking about $200,000 to bring water. We're before the health department, we have been before the health department for at least 4 months. And they're looking at this to try and figure what they're gonna do. The likelihood is we'd have a well at that site. It's one of the 3 lots. 2 of the lots are agricultural lots, and they're only gonna be used for agricultural purposes. So we have 1 lot, and that lot may have a well on it, but to ask us to spend $200,000 to extend to that 1 lot is a big deal. And we're before the health department, and they're considering what they're gonna do. Probably we have to go to their board of review and ask them for relief so we can have a well. But I think that's a big deal to ask somebody to spend that kind of money for 1 lot, which hasn't been developed, and at this point, we're not sure how it's gonna be developed.
So, 2 questions. There's no actual building being proposed. This is just a minor subdivision map, right?
That's right.
And 2, the town code doesn't mandate the extension, it's at the discretion of the board? Okay. So, what's the board's thoughts?
I would agree that we'd look at it in the future after we get the health department, and certainly the ag lots aren't gonna need it, so I'd be all right with it.
So, I would recommend that we include a recitation in the approval resolution that just states that we have considered this. I'd like to maybe work with Mr. Ehlers on the wording, just the planning board acknowledges that the subject parcel is not located within the boundaries of the Riverhead Water District, and at such time as the parcel comes in for site plan or development, the issue of water availability shall be addressed at that time.
That's reasonable.
And there was also just one other condition in the approval resolution, which stated, because there was the issue, the tax map number 20 to the north of the LIPA power lines. It's currently accessed by an easement through the subject parcel. The approval resolution was written with a condition that that northern parcel, tax lot 20, shall either be held in common ownership with lot number 3 of the proposed subdivision, or in the event that it's ever sold, it shall be merged with one of the adjoining farms so that access can be maintained to that parcel.
And we agree to that.
Yeah, we can't create a landlocked parcel.
All right?
Okay,
Good job, Rick.
Cool, thank you.
thank you. Okay, that brings us to the public hearings. The first public hearing tonight, number 1 on the agenda, is a minor subdivision of Anthony Golfo of Golfo Development.
Evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board. For the record, Sean Walter, applicant for Tony Golfo. Mr. Golfo is here today. We submitted the failing receipts, green cards, return receipts, and pictures. And I actually learned how to timestamp it on the phone, thanks to you guys, so I can put the dates on there, so that's all submitted. This is a pretty straightforward application. It's for a 2-lot subdivision. First lot is 24,397 square feet. The second lot's 24,717. It was approved by the Zoning Board of Appeals on December 20th, 2018. There's not specific conditions on the application approval from the Zoning Board of Appeals, except that we have to comply with the town code requirement to handle water that's generated on our property. The applicant does understand, we've submitted the topographic map. The applicant understands that there could possibly be, though I'm not sure it's really going to be an issue, that the town engineer talked about sheeting water from the neighbor's property. The applicant understands that if that is an issue, we will deal with that as well. The total grade change is 5 to 6 feet across the entire property, so it is pretty flat property. And the subdivision is very similar to many of the subdivisions you've done in and around Wading River and the town over the past couple of years. I don't have any other specific things to add unless you have questions of myself or Mr. Golfo.
So the proposed lot sizes are consistent with the rest of the neighborhood?
Absolutely. This is if you want to, I could ask you to incorporate the record of the Zoning Board of Appeals. We had Mr. Breslin come in, and he gave a pretty detailed report about how the lots were completely consistent with all the other parcels. Not only were they consistent with all the other parcels, these 2 lots were larger than the majority of the parcels in the surrounding community. So, I mean, we could, if you wanted to see that, we could pull that transcript for you to look at it, but we did have an expert witness in at the ZBA testifying to that. And I guess as a Wading River resident that lives around the corner, that does a lot of real estate work in the area, I can testify that these 2 lots, half-acre lots, are going to be quite a bit larger. The only lots that are similar in size are the ones directly on that side of the road. The rest of the lots in that neighborhood are quite a bit smaller.
What reliefs were you looking for from the zoning board, and were you granted them?
All the reliefs were granted. We got well, I can pull the decision, but we did a 2-fold application for the area variance for to do the subdivision. And then we also put building envelopes on the site and proposed building envelopes, and the ZBA approved the building envelopes as well. So once this subdivision is approved, hopefully by you folks, we'll be ready to file building permits. I know we have to bring the sediment control plan to you, and I think that's really the only thing we're looking to. I think that's the last outstanding thing is the erosion control plan that town engineer was looking for, and we are working on that. Now, my apologies that it's not here today.
Sean, have you filed with the health department?
Not yet.
Anyone from the public have any questions or comments on this application? Any questions on Golfo Development? Just come up to the podium, please, and state your name for the record.
What's the latest map that we have? What's the latest map?
My name is James Foster. I live at 14 Cedar Street, which is approximately 300 feet from the proposed lot. The question was, what was the gentleman's question that he had asked? I didn't hear it.
Oh,
The question was whether or not if they had filed the application with the Suffolk County Health Department yet.
And the importance of that is?
That's required before they can file the map with the county clerk.
Okay, thank you. That was it.
thanks.
Yes. They asked if they're one family, there'll be two one-family dwellings.
Anyone else from the public? Any comments or questions?
I just have a question, George.
Yes,
What's
sir.
the latest date on the latest map, the date on the latest map?
You have the latest map, which was, I'm not speaking into the microphone. You have the topographic map, which, we submitted in the last couple of days of January. So Nathan Corwin did this. Of course, I don't see the. Okay, well, this map is dated October 1st, 2018, but so that would be the latest map, but it's topographic. I know the topographic contour lines are put on after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that those contour lines are put on the map in January. Because we got this to you at the last possible moment so it could get into your package.
Well, when we go to, when we go to the final hearing, it'll be in the,
Yeah, well,
it'll be in the improvement.
yes, sir. If there's no other questions, we request that the public hearing be closed.
Make a motion that the public hearing for Golfo Development, a public hearing for two-lot minor subdivision, be closed, so moved.
Motion made and seconded to close the public hearing for minor subdivision of Anthony Golfo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Public hearing's closed.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Just for the record, the date, of this, of the last plan that we have in our file is October 1st, 2018.
The next public hearing, number 2 on the agenda, preliminary major residential subdivision of Cowfold Farms.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is John Wagner, an attorney for the applicants with Satillman Bauer, Adler and Hyman of Hop New York. The applicants are Richard E. Kauffold and Susan M. Kauffold, the owners of the property. The property involved here is approximately 18.33 acres located on the south side of Main Road, Route 25 in Laurel. Of that total acreage, 8.57 acres approximately are located north of the Long Island Railroad, and 9.76 acres approximately are south of the Long Island Railroad. Property is currently zoned residence RB80 and is currently used for farming purposes. The previously approved yield map for this property demonstrated a yield of 7 lots under the zoning. This particular preliminary plat that's before you tonight indicates a proposed 6 lots, 1 fewer than the maximum yield that's allowed. One of the lots in question that's being proposed, number 6 on the map, would contain the existing 2-story house on the property, as well as several existing accessory farm buildings, several sheds and a couple of barns, a gazebo. There are 5 additional house lots that are proposed on the property, a portion of the property that's north of the Long Island Railroad. Each of those lots, as well as the farm lot, would be accessed by means of a new cul-de-sac roadway to be constructed from the south side of Main Road. The property, a portion of the property is located south of the Long Island Railroad, would be used for farming purposes in the future, and would be accessible by means of Lot 6, which has the existing farmhouse and the farm structures on it. And do you have any questions? By the way, for the record, I had submitted an affidavit of posting and mailing to the clerk, and we also submitted dated and time-stamped photos, both of the day that the posting was placed on the property and also this morning.
Have you seen the recent letter or memo from our engineer?
Yes, I saw it this morning, sir.
Okay.
And I think we're agreeable to the conditions set forth thereon. Any other questions?
So you probably have to submit another map, or amend the map that you've got. Is that right?
I'm sorry?
With
With those
the
calculations,
drainage
et cetera.
cosmetic grading, yep, and, yep.
Yes, we do have to make some modifications to the map to address those comments.
Okay, good.
So can that be done if the hearing's closed tonight, can that be done within 60 days? All these conditions can be met? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay. Any other questions from the board? Anyone from the public? Just go up to the podium, please, and state your name.
Hi, my name's Bob O'Brien. I live at 2074 Main Road, almost directly across from the proposed subdivision. My main concern is I haven't seen a site plan for the development, and one of the last rural roads that we actually have is from Main Road down to Peconic Bay Boulevard on Laurel Lane. I mean, to this date, it probably is still the same as it's been for the last 40 years. How will this subdivision be buffered from that road as far as the proposed, as far as vegetation and so forth?
Is there a map on the wall?
Yes.
There's a map on the wall outside in the hallway, sir.
All the
Okay.
site plans are mounted outside if you want to.
All right, the access is supposed to be from the south side of Main Road, is that correct? And there's gonna be a
South side of
cul-de-sac
Main
with the houses on the cul-de-sac.
Yes.
The other, is there any provisions for noise abatement in the houses, being at the railroad at 4:30 and 2:30 in the morning, they blow the whistle at Laurel Lane? I mean, I live across from the road, and it's pretty loud for me. I can imagine these houses being right on the railroad, basically. I know that's one of the requirements in subdivisions at the airports, West Hampton, East Hampton, and so forth, because of the noise from the planes, that the houses have to have noise abatement built into the houses.
So we did discuss that in our work sessions. Mr. Wagner, do you want to address what we did to mitigate that?
We do have a provision that we ought to provide notice to potential purchasers of the lots of the existence of the railroad and potential noise impacts from the railroad.
Buyer beware, essentially.
Yes.
But there is a buffer also, right?
Well, the buffering, the primary buffering, when we're talking about that, is really for the houses. As far as the neighborhood is concerned, the houses are going to be pulled away from the main road. They'll be, accessed by this cul-de-sac, which leads quite a ways south of the main road itself. I mean, they will be near the railroad, but as I say, we're giving notice to the owners, and I think anybody buying in there is going to know exactly where they are and what the conditions will be.
The original subdivision map, as you recall, the houses were only 25 feet away. With the revised subdivision map, they're now more than 80 feet away.
Right.
The closest property, not the building envelope, that's the property line.
Yeah, we actually had, when we were looking at the yield map and the original plans and which yield map we would go with, we had two alternatives, one of which had the houses closer to Main Road, and the one we selected has them further away.
Thank you.
So it's my understanding then that that has been addressed as far as buffering from a scenic view from Laurel Lane to the houses?
I did scale out on the plans here. It looks like the closest house in the proposed
It
subdivision.
said something like 300 feet or something like that.
Looks to be almost honestly closer to 600 feet from Main Road.
But is there any vegetation proposed?
Not as part of this subdivision, no.
You're talking about Main Road or Laurel Lane?
Laurel Lane.
Laurel Lane is
This is not
it's
Laurel
not adjacent to, this property is not adjacent to Laurel Lane.
There's a
What's the
level-
distance from the subdivision from Laurel Lane?
The key map is not scaled in a
Yeah,
way.
yeah, it's approximately 600 feet.
All right, but that is within view at this time. If you take a ride down Laurel Lane, it's basically all farmland at this time.
There is a hedgerow along the,
On the east side, yes.
yeah, and so
Where
I would
Half
doubt
Hollow
that you
has
would see
their plants
anything,
and so
and
forth, right.
it's in our report that they tried to retain that hedgerow along that property line, so, being 600 feet away with the hedgerow, you'd see minimal impact of the houses.
But the hedgerow is on the east side of Laurel Lane.
There's actually one on both sides.
Yeah, west side's going too.
There's one on both sides.
If you look at the site plan on the wall, you'll see.
Okay.
clearly.
Sure.
There is existing vegetation on both sides of the subject property, which, by the way, does not front on Laurel Lane. There's a hedgerow on the east side and one on the west side. And that buffers against the adjoining neighbors.
Here's Laurel Lane, here's the property line, here's the tree line.
Okay.
The house would be back here.
How close would they be to the railroad track?
80 feet, the lot line would be 80 feet.
So they won't be really visible from Laurel Lane at all?
You will see them in a distance, but it's 600 feet away from the property line.
Well, that's one of my major concerns, because Coxneck Lane and Laurel Lane are about the only left, really rural roads left, and the only one in Riverhead is really Laurel Lane. So,
Well, the southern portion of it is gonna be farmland forever, so that's gonna be, it's an open vista.
well, that's south of the railroad tracks, yeah. Okay, that was my concern. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the public?
I move we close, the subdivision, major subdivision of Cowfold Farm.
Second.
A motion made and seconded to close the public hearing of Cowfold Farms. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. Item 3 on the public hearing agenda, Masson Residence Office Conversion.
Was not posted.
Good evening, Chairman and Board. My name is Anthony Portillo from A&P Architecture. Office is 15400 Main Road, Mattatuck, New York, 11952. We did deliver our mail-ins and our affidavit and our pictures of our sign posted on the site to the clerk.
Anybody,
I spoke with Dick about it, yes.
Oh, about the posting of the property with the sign that had fallen down?
The town code says it has to be up to 7 days. So if the gentleman knows that it was up for 7 days and his affidavit says that, that's adequate.
I was there today, I didn't see any sign.
We went by this morning to take a photo. The sign was removed by environmental reasons, and so.
You say it wasn't there this morning?
It wasn't there this morning. No, sir. We have been.
The question is, do you know that the sign was up for 7 days?
Yes, we've had the sign there. We checked with the contractor. I mean, I could have the contractor write a letter if you like. That.
We need an affidavit from you that says you know of your own knowledge the sign was up for 7 days.
Yes, sir. We've provided that, and that was from our conversation with the contractor.
It's up to the board to accept that or not. It's your judgment.
You can testify to that and give us a statement?
We did provide a statement, and it was from the word of the contractor.
Okay.
We have that?
All right, so you could continue with, what you're proposing to do here?
Thanks, sir.
Public?
Currently, there is a residence on the lot. The lot is east of 105 and west of Jamesport Town Line. Based on that, we are allowed to request a professional office, which requires a special permit, which we did receive. We also presented our plan to the zoning board due to a lot coverage issue because of the parking lot and driveway design, which I think was based on our conversation with the planning department, that they wanted us to have safe access in and out of the site. So, we did receive approval on that as well. Some of the, so basically this is a professional office, for psychotherapy, and we're requesting apartment on the second floor. We have adequate parking, as per our plan. We provided a drive-through, a one-way, for traffic coming into the site, and a one-way for traffic leaving the site. They have the ability to stop and make sure that they can get out, of the site, without anybody else pulling into the site.
Did you receive the, relief from the zoning board?
Yes, sir, we did. We are providing the buffers, on both sides of the property and the front of the property using vegetation. We did move, or we are proposing to move the fence over, for the western, property to allow, since the neighbor there needs a little extra room for access, so, Ms. Masson was willing to do that, so she's gonna do that as well. Basically, that's about it. We are currently working on, getting our septic approval, for the professional office and, residence, since it's actually, a larger tank that's required than what's existing. We should have that, I would say, within a week or so. We're very close. And then we're also in contact with the highway department because we have to increase the, curb cut, at the front of the lot.
Are there provisions in your plans? We found that there was an encroachment, that driveway, and the neighbor to the west side was an issue. How did you deal with that?
Unfortunately, I was unable to speak with the neighbor, but we did move the fence over. We're proposing to move the fence over 2 feet on our plan. We haven't done it yet, just, it's proposed.
Will he still be able to access the rear of his property is, I guess, my question. Because that was an issue.
Right, based on, so, the truth is the fence was on our, the fence was on our property, so we're not encroaching on his property.
We knew it was the opposite, right?
We
Yeah.
understand.
So, I mean, we're doing our best. I mean, I do want Ms. Masson to have a conversation with him, but, she's pretty willing to, she knows that neighbor well, and, they have a good relationship, so she's willing to work with him in whatever means. But currently, our proposal is to move the fence 2 feet. That's how we propose to deal with that.
Craig, the street view that we have taken from the map, doesn't show a fence by the driveway.
Well, no, there is no fence. They are proposing
So the
a.
proposed fence you're referring to?
Yeah, the proposed
I'm
fence.
sorry, the original proposed fence, moving it 2 feet from the property, our original proposed plan. Excuse me.
Looking at the street level view, you can see where the driveway is. I guess, before, a final approval, we would just wanna see what the distance from that neighbor, what the neighbor's house is to the property line. If we say that that's 6 feet, if they move the fence in then 2 feet, that gives him 8 feet of access, which should be enough for him to be able to get in and out.
Yeah, this is basically a courtesy from the applicant because
Correct,
it's
yeah,
their property.
exactly.
But I think the board kind of discussed this would alleviate a problem where there isn't one right now.
Right. Again, she's, the owner's okay. She's obviously not gonna give up a big bulk of her property, but a couple feet out, she's not really concerned.
It's in the landscaped area anyway.
Exactly, it's in the buffer.
Right.
She's not really concerned.
Okay.
She's not utilizing the space.
Was there any testimony in the zoning board from the public?
Yes, actually, we had two neighbors from across the street, live on Colonial. They had some concerns more about the traffic, I believe.
It's gonna be a tough traffic situation with that Colonial coming out into the main road.
Sure.
Across the street.
Sure, and the farm stand is also, there, and I know that area gets a little clogged up. what we've presented or what we've discussed with planning in regards to that is Ms. Masson is willing to basically have one practitioner at a time, to try to reduce that type of traffic. But at the same time, people that are coming are there for an hour at a time. They're there all day. The practitioners are not in and out of the property. So I don't think it's a large amount of traffic that this is adding. I actually think it's probably less than if it was a residence with say, 4 bedrooms where maybe there's 2 or 3 cars that are utilizing that site. So there will be the 1 bedroom apartment on the 2nd floor. So maybe there's 1 or 2, but we only have a spot for 1 person there, and her plan is really to have a single person. I think the idea is also to provide some low income housing, or not low income, but just smaller income housing for an accessory apartment.
As part of the special permit consideration, the town board asked the chief of police to come up with the accident data records for that stretch of roadway. And he submitted a 10-year report. In that 10 years, there were 10 car accidents along that stretch of roadway, and one of those was due to a deer. So you had basically 9 car accidents over a 10-year period.
But with that information that was provided, because I did review it, there was no context to it. So, there was no context as to the condition of the driver, what were the mitigating factors. I mean, there was really nothing for us to analyze. There was a consistent pattern that developed, but we didn't have any of the information. We just had dates, and, as Mr. Murphy said, someone hit a deer. I can't really hold that on the applicant.
Yeah, and I would also say, just to sort of add to that, is if it was, say, a dental office or a medical office, I think there'd be a lot more traffic than, say, a psychotherapist's office where they usually are there for a long period of time. So it's not a 15 or 30-minute appointment.
Okay, anyone from the public have any comments or questions? Come up to the podium, please. Just state your name for the record.
My name is Peter Lucas. I live directly across the street. I'm one of the 2 people who spoke up at the town board meeting. And within the last 10 years, I was going to say 3 years, but within the last 10 years, there was somebody killed at the foot of my driveway, which was 939 Main Road, which is directly across, right on the corner of Colonial and Main Drive. Over the 42 years I've lived there, I don't know how many accidents happen. It's weird. It's a straightaway. You should be fine. Endless. Back in the day, before drinking and driving was restricted so much, every Friday or Saturday night there would be an accident on this stretch of road. It's changed. I'm going to go to the certified letters. 2 people who I spoke with who got them the last time did not get them this time. And I didn't realize it was such an important item when we spoke at the town board meeting. But I didn't get my letter until Saturday. The meeting was Tuesday. So I don't know what the restrictions are. I would be against this. They're going to pave almost the entire lot. I believe there was 7 required parking spaces, and they're going to bring the driveway on the west side, park in the back, and then bring the driveway on the east side. This is a 1/3 of an acre lot. It's all going to be blacktop. My concern is the number of accidents that have happened right there. In the last 3 years, cars have gone across this lot, through the hedgerow, onto the front steps of the house just east. There's something about this intersection, this particular piece, whether it's coming from the farm stand, coming from the east, there's something about it. And adding this extra traffic, even though it's minimal, I think it's a dangerous situation happening.
Have you seen the sign posted in your?
No, but I have not looked for it.
Well, it's usually on a stick in front of, on the ground.
No, I have not seen it.
There's a sign in the door that pertains to something else.
No, I have not seen the sign. Thank you.
Thank you. question for Dick. It's not an issue that he received that certified mail on Saturday?
Mr. Lucas is saying he got his, you got your mail on Saturday, sir?
Not for this meeting, for the original meeting, I got it
Oh,
on Saturday before
okay.
Tuesday. This one I got last Wednesday.
Okay,
I
okay.
We've presented our mail outs on the proper dates, so, I mean, we've provided all the records. This is, I mean, we've done this now about 5 times in regards to planning and zoning and, special permit, and again, planning. So I think we've been pretty diligent about notifying the public. It's not that I disagree or agree in regards to the traffic, but I really think if you look at what we've designed on this plot, it allows cars to enter safely, it allows cars to stop and see before anybody else is coming, see where they're pulling out to. I can't stress enough, this isn't a high frequency business. It's not a retail business, it's not a dental business, and we did receive our special permit and for the usage.
New York State DOT?
Say that one more time, I'm sorry?
New York State DOT, have you?
Yes, we're in contact with them. We are applying for the curb cut extension, which I believe it's just an administrative permit. It's actually not a full permit.
They haven't said anything about providing turning lanes or anything like that?
That has not been asked.
We did get a response from DOT.
We did get a letter from DOT, dated December 22nd, 2017. Their comments were that the existing asphalt driveway apron is damaged, replaced with concrete apron, replace a sidewalk along the frontage. They just gotta submit a signed highway work permit application. There were no mention of any sort of turning lanes or any sort of improvements in the right of way. And I just want to acknowledge what Mr. Lucas said and what Mr. Portillo said. The applicant did submit, it is a 1/3 of an acre parcel. They designed an application through revisions. We've got the, what we feel is the safest possible operation of the site. They received their special permit, they received the necessary variances. This application, however, has brought to light maybe a section of the code that the town board has discussed, maybe making some revisions in terms of minimum lot size, just because it is a small parcel, but the applicant designed it to the best of their ability, being what they had, and they received their variances. So, we felt that any unsafe measures were mitigated through redesign and through just coordination with the applicant.
Okay, any other comments or questions from the public? Okay,
I move we close the public hearing for Masson resident office conversion.
Second.
okay, motion made and second to close the public hearing for the Masson residence office conversion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Public hearing is closed. Thank you.
Thank you, board. Have a good evening.
May I ask what that means?
It means that the public hearing portion is closed. We have not decided one way or the other on the application yet. That'll come back up to us probably within next month.
Thank you.
And your comments are on record for us to consider.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Okay, before we go to the resolutions, any public comments on any matter in front of the planning board? Any comments from the public? Okay, first one on the list.
Move resolution number 5, the Riverhead Town Planning Board, AT&T at 5010 Sound Shore Road, granting administrative site plan approval for AT&T. So moved.
As amended.
No, not that one, that's the next one. Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 5, AT&T at 5010 Sound Shore Road, granting administrative site plan approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution's approved.
I'll-
The next one is amended for both the location and the
RF analysis, stamped by New York State
PE.
licensed PE.
I'll move resolution 2019-006, granting the administrative site plan for AT&T at 201 Sound Avenue. So moved.
Second.
I think that's supposed to be Fresh Pond.
Yes, that was the
Oh, yes,
correction.
I'm sorry,
already.
the first
Yep.
one, I'm sorry.
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve resolution 6 as amended for AT&T at 201 Fresh Pond Avenue. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution's approved. Number 3.
I'll move resolution number 7, which grants, CEQA and grants administrative approval for Jamesport Vineyards Bistro.
Yeah, before we vote, Chairman, I just wanna say it, when this came up, I went to the business, and I have to say, very well done and an asset to the community. And they're gonna have more green space instead of paving, so that's why I'm gonna support it.
Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve resolution 7, Jamesport Vineyard Bistro amendment for a site plan application. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution is approved. Number 4 on the agenda.
I'll move resolution number 8, Joe LaRusso, minor subdivision.
Second motion?
Okay, motion made and seconded to approve resolution 8, Joseph LaRusso minor subdivision. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the resolution's approved.
I'll move resolution 9, for the Calverton Manor minor subdivision. So moved.
Second.
Okay, resolution 9 for Calverton Manor subdivision as amended to require a water extension with future building. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution's approved.
On the advice of Mr. Silverman's counsel, they've asked for an extension of time. I'm gonna make a motion to table resolution 10 for the Henry Silverman minor subdivision. So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion made and seconded to extend table resolution 10 for Henry Silverman. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, extension's
Can I
granted.
just ask a question on the Calvin Manor subdivision?
Sure.
I believe it wasn't a question of having the water extension, it was a question of considering the water extension in the event that we get the site plan.
Right, if it's my understanding was any building that's proposed on that one lot in question, you will come back to us and we'll decide that.
That's correct, I
Okay.
just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, I think it was just an acknowledgement that, yes, we acknowledge the parcel is not in the water district at such time that
That's fine.
comes in for development.
Okay, anyone else from the public have any comments?
Make a motion that we move the planning board minutes of January 17th, 2019, so moved.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes of January 17th. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. The next meeting is February 21st at 3 PM. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Have a good night.